Hey guys and gals, how's everybody doing? Sorry for the late start. I wanted to get ready a little while ago, but YouTube wouldn't let us create a super chat goal, which we have to have a super chat goal. Otherwise, there's no way to earn revenue when we do Lego Batman. Of course, when we're doing the story. Uh-oh. Sorry guys, my wife always has the TV so freaking loud. Like the first stream that I get to, it's like whoosh. So it's like I'm trying to avoid copyright because no super chats or anything yet. And all of a sudden we have the high profile Danny Elfman Batman theme just kind of whoosh, like 12 notches on the TV. I lowered it to 5. This is like, whoa. Because obviously the microphone's going to pick it up and then it's going to be like, boo. But anyway, hopefully you guys having a good one. There's some interesting game news. Jubilee is coming to Marvel Rivals, which we'll be looking at on Friday. And I was speaking with Ubisoft, and we may actually look at Assassin's Creed Pirate tomorrow, Black Flag. So we'll see. We shall see. And then I think SAO is this month, but I don't remember. I might do the Grand Blue Fantasy game, but that game is heavily copyright. Like we were going to finish Rhythm Haven Groove, but Nintendo of Japan started doing like massive blanket copyrights. So people who were doing like 8-hour streams, if they didn't receive like super chats or memberships or whatever, you know, they just took all that revenue. So I mean, I'm noticing a theme with music games. Music games are fun and everything, but they're a copyright nightmare. Even our old Rhythm Heaven games that we've covered in the past are all now copyrighted by Japan. So it's like, wow. And it's like, well, just don't use the music. It's like, how can you do a stream or upload of a rhythm game without music? That's impossible. But also, it'd be impossible for the streamer. How do you play along to the beats? You really can't. So, yeah, that was a dumb move on Nintendo's part, but oh well. I mean, I think the Rhythm Heaven Groove game is still good for Switch too, but I can't cover it anymore unless like somebody tells me, "Hey, I'm going to give you like 20 bucks to play the game tomorrow." It's yeah, sure, but you know, if they don't, I can't because I can't go in like, uh-oh. Hmm. So yeah, that was kind of a bum move of Nintendo. It was like I was starting to really get competitive with the game too. I was getting really into it. I'm gonna get a medal on this one. But yeah, I can't play it anymore. So our filler series every once in a while will be Tomodachi Life or whatever it is because I mean, we don't really have to do a lot. The game basically plays itself, and we can just check in on our characters every once in a while. So there's that. There's that. And then later tonight will be the YouTube short of Jubilee and Marvel Rivals, and she actually looks pretty cool. They aged her up quite a bit, so. Um, all right, so what are we doing with this? So as always, guys and gals, if you want to help with copyright, you can throw like a $5 thing our way. I'll unlock the music for 20 bucks. If not, I will be doing my own version of recaps of the cutscenes because I can't play the sound of the cutscenes because copyright. So if you enjoy my recaps, don't super chat and just my witty commentary will make your day better. Hmm. I'm actually getting pretty good at the recaps. Batman threw a batarang. Superman picked up a building. Wonder Woman was very angry because reasons. See? You're missing out so much by super chatting. Okay, here we go. Where are we going now? What is this? All the Rage. Ooh! I get to voice Atrocitus. Dope. Okay. I got this. Who would win, Batman or Leon S. Kennedy? The only Batman that would lose against Leon S. Kennedy would be Adam West and George Clooney. I think Bale would probably barely be able to beat Leon S. Kennedy. Affleck would destroy him in a few hits. Arkham Batman would pretty much take him down in a combo. Animated series Batman, it might be tough, but I think animated series Batman could take down Leon S. Kennedy. I think it'll be a tough fight between Leon and the Batman 2004. Batman Brave and the Bold would somehow comically defeat Leon S. Kennedy because Brave and the Bold Batman is one of the most OP interpretations of Batman ever. He's like stupid strong and like his gadgets are just completely unbelievable. He has a Green Lantern ring, he has a Yellow Lantern ring. His utility belt turns into a lightsaber. He's got rocket boots. He's got a jetpack on his back that his cape turns into. His cape can turn into metal and act as a shield if somebody's shooting at him. His cowl is equipped with a rebreather for both space and water. His suit is flame-proof. Yeah, Brave and the Bold Batman is just stupid unfair. Thank you very much for the super chat, Miss Deanna. Let's see if I can read this. I still think that you're amazing at games, Mr. Luke. I also want to know... That's very nice of you. I also want to know what fighting style fits you most. Speed, power, or tactics. Also, how do you like your salmon cooked? Because I want salmon. Amber, how do I have my salmon cooked usually? It's just a little pink. Yeah, it's not too pink, and it's... Yeah, roasted in a pan. With a little bit of olive oil and green parsley. Yeah, and maybe a splash of garlic. What is my fighting style? I am not a big bulky person because I broke my arms as a kid. So I was fast. I incorporated a lot of very quick strikes to the throat, spine, the top of your head, so your skull, your temple on the side of your head with both elbow and leg strikes. And I used to be able to move very, very fast. I don't know if I can anymore because I haven't done martial arts in 20 years, 25 years. But I made up for lack of muscle with speed. Not necessarily technique, just speed. Alright, here we go. This part you can choose which lantern planet you go to. I kind of want to voice Atrocitus today. Miss Deanna started off the super chat goal, but I'm still going for it, so here we go. Story time, kids. Enjoy. Recap Lego Batman 3, Kwings style. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Aw, yeah. I'm excited. Yasmalt. The invisible jet is flying, and oh no! There's a red lantern that looks really angry, and they're spewing vomit. And then we got, that looks like an orange lantern. They're not really getting along. They don't like each other very much. Hal and the invisible jet is coming down. Hal's like, alright, easy does it. And, oh, Robin? Robin is bald. So it's Arkham Robin, hanging out with Batman. Yo! This river is full of raspberry stuff. It's pretty good, too, I think. The source is over there. Let's go, guys. It's all the rage.
Angry enough?
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, Atrocitus and the rest of the Red Lantern
I didn't get to be Atrocitus, but
exactly
I did get
into
to
yoga. Careful, team.
kind of explain what was happening in that copyrighted cutscene. So, hooray. Okay, here we go. It's Arkham Robin, Bald Robin, and he's dancing for some reason. I mean, can you think of, like, how many versions of Robin are bald? There's only two that I know of. Arkham and Lego Batman 3 Lex Luthor Robin. More like a medium rare thing? I guess so. I like Amber when... I mean, I don't like Amber to cook me things to like her, but when she puts salmon and... I like when she uses it in the frying pan. Just a little bit of butter, not too much.
Red Lantern's coming to stop us.
You don't want to add too much stuff to the fish because then the fish. I'm sorry, I'm evil.
Martian Manhunter?
No.
You don't want to. You don't. As they say, a little less is more. So you don't want to put too much butter in it because then it's going to be too buttery and it's going to defeat the purpose of being good for you. If the fish tastes too good, then it's not good for you anymore. It'll defeat the purpose of, you know, having some fish to your diet. That's like eating ramen and adding a lot of salt to it. No, Amber, you will never live that down. Bald Robin. Okay. Let's see. What else is going on in the news today? So Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard, and Professor X himself has finally announced that he is retiring from acting. And everybody's like, I thought he retired from acting before. And it's like, nope, this time it's for real. Probably because he can't remember his own name anymore. Sorry. He's been acting a long time, though. When I was a kid in the 80s, he was in his 40s. So he's got to be 80-something now. He might even be more than 80 now. I don't know. And he was a Shakespearean actor. So that's what made his Captain Picard so cool. Oh. Oh, that's right. That's not Wonder. I mean, that's not Cheetah. That's Wonder Woman. So in order to dig, we have to use Hal. That makes sense. No, I don't pay attention to actors. I don't know what actors do. Sorry. It's fine, Amps. I'm just running around as Hal Jordan. Does Bald Robin have access to Lex Luthor's gadgets? Wait, you have him cosplaying, but he can't use a laser? Well, that's dumb. What does he do? Okay. I probably made mention of that all those years ago, but that's weird. Why wouldn't he have access to all Lex's gadgets? That would have been kind of cool. And what does Joker Batman do? He throws a batarang, even though he's Joker. That makes sense. He doesn't use guns. He punches people. Okay. So then this is all about Hal, then. He has all of Robin's default abilities, so he can throw a batarang then. Okay. Well, that's fun. Alright, Hal. Wait, Hal maybe has a laser? No, that's a boxing glove. Well, he does have a laser, but it doesn't do anything with gold bricks. Welp. Lex was demoted. Yeah. So I made a mistake today. I was supposed to have Amazon come pick up an extra bed frame that I scheduled a week ago. And apparently in New York, they have to talk to you on the phone before they come and pick up your thing. Whereas in Pennsylvania, I could just leave returns outside and they would just pick it up. Be like, yeah, I left it outside. New York guys, they want to, you know, double check and make sure it's there. Even though I told the people, yeah, I'm going to put it out the morning of the 7th. Which, I mean, I put it out yesterday, I think. I don't remember. And now I'm probably gonna have to bring it back inside the house, and that thing's heavy as all get out. Because they won't be here until Friday now. And they haven't told us what time they're picking it up on Friday. They're like, we'll call you. And it's like, no, please just set up a time. I don't want my entire day to be like, oh man, when are they coming? Because what if I don't recognize their number? I screen my calls. I don't like answering my phone if I don't know who it is. Yoink. What are my thoughts that Eggman is smarter than Lex Luthor? I mean, have you seen all the stuff that Dr. Eggman has created since, you know, the Sonic games in '93? He's a... Lex Luthor is just a businessman that has a little bit of... I mean, he was a scientist when I was a kid, but he was more of like remade to be not necessarily like this maniacal scientist, but like more of a modern day, like, I don't know, entrepreneur villain. I always thought they modeled him after Epstein or I'm trying to think who else. The Bill Gates guy or something, yeah. That's who I always thought Lex Luthor was supposed to be. Especially in BVS, it was like, hey look, it's the guy from Facebook. Like, he was a scientist and stuff in the 60s. But when I was a kid, Lex Luthor had like really long hair, and it was red, and he had like a beard and mustache, and he wore fancy suits. And he had scientists in his employ that did all the dirty work, and then he was just the guy that showed up, like kind of like a foreman. And he hated Superman for some reason. And Supergirl was not Supergirl when I was a kid. She was a clone. She was a shape-shifting blue alien. So it was like DC's answer to Mystique. But it didn't last long. Hello, how you doing? Thanks for the highlighted message. I don't even remember what her name is. Do you guys remember the shape-shifting Supergirl clone? The one after Supergirl died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. I don't even remember her actual name, but she was the girlfriend of Lex Luthor. She was even Supergirl during the death and return of Superman, I believe. Yeah. Lex Luthor and BVS was modeled after the dude from Facebook, totally. Yeah, they had a Supergirl movie in the 80s. Her name was Matrix CG? Or CJ? Okay. Cool, thanks. Oh, there was somebody trapped behind there. Huh. Link, are you attacking Amber again? Link, don't eat a sticker. It's bad for you. Wait, how is Batman able to use a grappling hook on... You know what? Never mind. Her name was Linda? Whatever happened to her? She die? Because eventually Kara came back in the comics because of the whole Superman Batman Apocalypse like miniseries. That was Kara again, and she had a new look. So what happened to fake Supergirl? Did they just forget she existed, or did something happen to her? See, I wasn't a big Superman reader outside of the death and return of Superman. Once Superman had the long mullet, I was like, nah, I don't like this Superman anymore. He's got a mullet. He doesn't look like Superman anymore. And I wasn't an avid Superman reader anyway, but my grandpa gave me all the, my grandpa was a big Superman guy because my grandpa was, you know, he was an immigrant. So my grandpa thought Superman was really cool. He was like the super immigrant. Get it? Because he came from a foreign place and then he became a citizen of the United States and all that other stuff. Fought for truth, justice, and the American way. My grandpa was a big Superman fan, but I was a huge Batman fan. My grandpa never bought me any Batman comics. He always bought me Superman comics. Yeah, Amber's like, Superman's nicer. It's like, yeah, true, but it was always weird because my grandpa was pretty tough, and yet he was a huge Superman fan. So I would think he would be more akin to liking Batman, but he was a Superman guy. No, Batman's not a cop. Batman's a vigilante that bothers most police officers. They don't like how Batman does things. Only Commissioner Gordon turns a blind eye. Everybody else, Harvey Bullock, even Renee Montoya sometimes is kind of like, doesn't appreciate how Batman, like, bends the rules too much. She's even talked to him, like, in the 90s on occasion. She's like, why don't you just wear a badge? And he's like, not my style. And she, like, turns a blind eye sometimes, but even a couple times she's tempted to run him in because he goes too far. But, like I've said before, Batman is a necessary, like, you know, I wouldn't say a safety, but he's a... Gotham needs him because Gotham is just too far gone. That you kind of need, like, a Wild West sheriff type character that, you know, is kind of above the law.
There's something we can use to get past.
He's kind of like Wile Earp or Billy the Kid. Or not Wile, it's Wyatt Earp, not Wile Earp. Wiley? Now I'm picturing Dr. Wily in cowboy getup calling himself Wile Earp. And Billy the Kid was a bad guy? I always thought he was kind of nice. He was an outlaw, but he wasn't that bad. Oh, I mean, snoring's annoying. I mean, at least he had a reason. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I'm not a Viking. I don't like talking about Absolute Batman. I'm sorry, guys. The only thing I'll say about Absolute Batman is Cape Crusader's going to end up getting canceled because Absolute Batman is going to be exactly like the Cape Crusader show, except it'll take place in modern times. So then they won't have to try to make it make sense for 1940s and 30s when it didn't exist. So Cape Crusader is just going to end up getting canceled in favor of the new Absolute Batman animated series. And I think that'll do better on Amazon anyway. But probably be really graphic like Invincible or something. I don't know. I would be surprised if Absolute Batman didn't do well as an animated series on Amazon or Netflix. But Cape Crusader's not going to survive. Why would you have two versions of the same show? Like, you know, Absolute Batman is filled with, like, weird stuff from the 2020s. And they tried to shoehorn in weird stuff from the 2020s in Cape Crusader, which doesn't work and sticks out like a sore thumb. And it's like, insert crickets here. You know, it's just... There's no reason for both of those shows to exist because they're essentially the same thing, except one is cosplaying in the 1940s and the other one is, you know, actually something that is modern. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't really complain about it all that much because that's what modern comics is it's trash. I'm not a garbage man. I'm not here to point out the trash all the time. I just point out trash when it doesn't belong. If it's a modern thing, yeah, sure, whatever. That makes sense because modern stuff is trash. But the fact that it was supposed to be a period piece, and we were lied to that it was going to be a bare bones, limited gadget Batman taking place in the 1930s or World War II era without any modern sensibilities. And then they backpedaled and they said, it's for modern audiences. And when they said that, I was like, yep, it's going to suck. And I was right. But maybe someday we'll actually get a Batman show that's supposed to be in the Golden Age, and it takes place in the 30s when they actually deal with 30s things like speakeasies and prohibition and, you know, all the mobsters running around, because there was a lot of mobsters, and mobsters were seen as actually the good guys in society for the most part. You know, they ran bars, and they did moonshining, they did all kinds of stuff. There was a lot of things that was very different for life in the 30s and 40s compared to life in the 20s. So it's a shame that, you know, Bruce Timm was too much of a coward to actually implement anything from the 1930s or 40s. Just like basically, you know, they were running around in skin cosplay of 40s attire when there's nothing from the 30s and 40s in that show at all. It's such a shame. I was really expecting, like, does everybody remember that cool short starring Kevin Conroy during the DC Nation called Strange Days? Where it was an all black and white show, and it was like a 5 or 6 minute short, and it showed Kevin Conroy acting as Golden Age Batman. I literally was throwing money at the screen to have a show like that made, and never happened. Sucks. Because that was the stuff, man. Oh well.
Almost there. Also, the red power battery feeds on rage. So everyone chill, okay?
But how can I chill when
Well, that's
I'm
the funny
full of
thing is
Red
they
Lantern
actually
rage?
pitched
That's so
that
idiotic!
they pitched Strange Days to Warner Brothers to make like a short 1940s style Batman thing, but then because of all the nonsense of the pandemic, according to people I've heard from, they did a complete pivot on the show, and they wanted to include stuff that the Harley Quinn show was doing. But the thing is, the Harley Quinn show is a modern show. It takes place in the 2020s, so of course it's going to be filled with Twitter speech and all this other stuff. A show from the 1940s, not everybody had, like, television, or very few... Well, most people had radio. Radio was the equivalent to what TV would have been in the 1980s. Everybody had a radio. But they incorporate way too much modern technology into the Cape Crusader. Like, SWAT teams were not a thing until the late 50s, early 60s, and yet there's SWAT teams and stuff like that in the Cape Crusader. Some of the weapons and vehicles that they're using are not from the 1940s or 30s. Most of the issues that society is dealing with, they don't show anything from the 30s and 40s. It's all, like, revamped stuff about the probably 1960s and the 2020s. There wouldn't be, you know, non-straight couples like walking around in the 1930s or 40s. They would have all been closeted. You could have still shown those people, but they wouldn't be going on dates in public. You know? There's all kinds of weird stuff that show keeps doing. That's why I say it romanticizes a fake 1940s, and they're just basically walking around in the cosplay skin of what they think the 40s was. They should have had a liaison to show them, or they could have watched some Golden Age Hollywood movies to know what, you know, gangster life and all that other stuff was in the 40s and 30s, including the mannerisms and speech and the way that people spoke. All that stuff, it's all, you know, they just completely went, nah, we're not going to do that. And they wonder why their show is doing terrible. You know? It's like, okay, sure. I wanted to literally see Batman, like, struggling to, you know, beat, like, a serial killer, like, whatever. In fact, we didn't even really get to see the whole Clayface thing. They made Renee Montoya, you know, essentially be the person to take down Clayface, basically. Batman doesn't really even do anything in his own show. He's just kind of like a side character, but it's not a side character handled well. You could argue that Batman is a side character in the Nolanverse, but at least he's a character that, you know, is pivotal to the story. Batman is just kind of this weirdo in the Caped Crusader that shows up in cosplay, and occasionally he does something, but for the most part the show is from either Harley Quinn's point of view, or Renee Montoya, or Jim Gordon, or the villains, and Batman is just kind of there and he stumbles his way to success. That's not a 1940s or 30s Batman relying on his wits. That's a side character in a clown show. It's stupid. It was such a letdown. And I've heard the second season is just as bad. I was like, yeah, I'm not really missing much. I have seen a little bit of Spider-Man Noir. It's actually pretty good. John, out of all the, I'm pretty sure the Caped Crusader Season 2 has already came out, right? Or is that still a ways away? I don't really see a lot of people talking about it. If it premiered, it didn't do very well. Oh, right, we need to use Robin. Come here, Bald Wonder. Come here. There we go. Of course I'm negative. I'm the opposite of... I'm like the grumpy part of Kwings Let's Plays. I always have been. Go back and watch, Disney Infinity. I'm the grumpy Gus. Amber is the carefree bubble princess. I always bring snark and sarcasm and wit, dry humor, dark humor. And Amber's like the bright sunshine. She's the sunshine of my darkness. She always has been. Of course, on the O1 channel, I get a little bit more intense. But the Let's Play channel, I've always kind of been... I wouldn't say the villain of the channel. Maybe like the... I'm like Irish... no, I'm like Oscar the Grouch. Amber's Elmo, and I'm Oscar. We're not Bert and Ernie, it's Oscar and Elmo. Does that make sense? Nah, I would say Bert and Ernie. Bert's not that bad. My personality archetype is more like Groucho. Or not Groucho. Well, no. I have a little bit of Groucho marks, but you guys don't know who that is. I'm not Harpo. Amber would be Harpo. Amber's like, that's fine, I love Harpo. You guys don't know the Marx Brothers, so I can't... that's way before your time. Remember, 80s and 90s kids had access to television for the past 80 years. So it wouldn't be uncommon on Saturday morning to have a Marx Brothers movie randomly on TNT or Turner Classic Movies or something. You know, we literally got to see history unfold before our eyes, like what television was like in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. We grew up with 80s stuff, but you know, cable was just becoming a thing in the 80s, so my generation was introduced to so many other, like, windowed history compared to other people. Whereas today, there isn't a lot of kids that would be introduced to, like, the Marx Brothers or Andy Griffin Show or I Love Lucy or something like that. It's not a thing. Whereas, you know, back then in the 90s and the 80s, television companies were just finding a way to fill airtime. You know, they needed something to be on 24 hours. Hey, can we get reruns of I Love Lucy? Yes. Can we get Smart? Yes. The rights for that are so old, nobody cares. Let's air it. Throw some commercials on it, we'll make money. Probably. Also, if there happens to be any boomers up late at night, they might reminisce watching that when they were kids. Who knows? Late night television. I Love Lucy is still funny, yeah. Did I watch TV in black and white? Yes, I did. My generation was the last generation to grow up with, like, some TVs still had black and white. There were some TVs that were still produced that were in black and white. Yes, there was. Now, black and white TVs were different than what you're thinking. It's not like you could go into Walmart or something or buy a black and white TV. What would happen is the black and white TVs would be for RVs or to put in your car. So we had a black and white TV that was at a campsite, as well as my grandma had a black and white TV that was in the kitchen. So she had a color TV with cable in the living room where my grandpa would watch his Western stuff. And then in the kitchen there was a, I don't know, like a 9 or 10 inch television that was all in black and white. The very first TV that I had in my room was an RCA black and white 12-inch TV, and that's what I played my NES on. I didn't have a color TV in my room until 1993. So when I played video games in my room, they were in black and white. True. I didn't like playing video games in my room very much, though, because I preferred color, so I would ask my parents' permission if I could set up my NES or Super Nintendo on the downstairs TV. And they would allow me to do it for a while, but then my mom would be like, okay, you've played for 30 or 40 minutes, that's enough video games for today. And I was like, what? But I didn't get to a save point. Now, that was a real thing, by the way. There was not that many save points on NES and Super Nintendo, so if your video game time was over, then the system got shut off, and you would have to wait until tomorrow and play it all over again. So you would have to get good to get back to where you were, because, you know, whoops. Yeah, that was a very common occurrence for kids in the 80s and 90s. Also, video game time limits between 30 minutes to an hour of gameplay a day. Oof. But yes, I still had black and white TVs for a while. We didn't like having black and white TVs, though. Uh-oh. The bad guys are here, and now we have Atrocitus. And Atrocitus is grumpy. Ah! I have the power of rage! Yeah. And, of course, vomiting inside of the power battery. Ugh. Lovely. Robin's like, what's that? Batman's like, trouble, that's what. 30 or 40 minutes of video game time feels too strict. I mean, that's how it was. As I got older, it became 2 hours, but when I was a little kid, yeah, it wasn't very long at all. Although my parents, they divided up the time. They were like, okay, you had 40 minutes of NES. Later today, you can play Game Boy for 30 minutes or something like that. So in reality, I got about like an hour and a half of video games a day from like the age of 7 through 10. When my mom got very sick when I was a kid, so she was in the hospital in the early 90s, like 1992. So by like 1993, my dad worked so much, so I ended up playing a lot of video games because I didn't really have parental figures around anymore. My dad would come home from work, he'd be exhausted, and my mom was in the hospital for a year and a half. So. She got better, but she was very sick. And my mom's still around today, too. My mom's an EMT, so... But, for whatever reason, she got very sick. And she was in a very famous Catholic hospital in Connecticut. So But that's when we got cable, because when my mom wasn't home, my mom was a strict person, like TV was evil and things like that, so when my mom was in the hospital, that's when my dad brought home cable. And that changed everything. That changed my entire world, man. I didn't have to watch Rabbit Ears to watch Batman the Animated Series and Power Rangers anymore. I could watch it, like, the way that it was meant to be seen, in a crisp picture without any fuzz. Because Rabbit Ears on televisions were not fun, by the way. The fancy kids had the Rabbit Ears on top of the TV, plus they had an antenna on the house that somebody would climb up and move the antenna around to get a better picture. But Rabbit Ears were not fun. Wow. Ride 'em how? Oops, I think I failed. Yikes. Do I have a favorite video game? No. I've played video games too many years. I like all video games for the most part. I divide games into a couple categories. 2D, 3D, mobile, and retro. Snap, I'm not... What button was I supposed to hit? Because I'm not playing on Xbox, so... Those of you guys that have an Xbox, I mean, I have one too, but I don't use it very much. The button that it's telling me, what does that translate to on a PS3 controller? Because I'm going to keep making these small mistakes and make this boss fight, like, last a lot longer than it should. Because, like, I'm hitting the wrong button because... I don't know what the A and the buttons are. Because it's not... It's a Steam version of the game, and I'm using a PS3 controller, so yeah, that's why this is taking a little bit of time. So the prompts that the game is giving me is not really helping me because I'm not playing on Xbox. I'm using a PS3 controller because I love my PS3 controller. I use my PS3 controller for all my Steam games. I love it. Ow. Still works great. This is my Arkham controller, too. My Arkham City controller. Feels nice. I think A is X. X is circle. Okay. Nope, apparently I failed. Never mind. X is not circle. X is square. Okay. Well, I mean, it's confusing because the game was made... This is a PC version. So, is it true that Valve increased the price of Steam Deck now by $300? Wasn't Steam Deck already wicked expensive already? Okay. I can hear... Whoops.
Grundy.
Salman Grundy's like, I got this. Yeah, we haven't hit the super chat goal yet, guys, so I gotta be careful with the music. Who am I? I'm Joker, obviously. Whee! Look at me. And I'm Lex Luthor with a Texas accent. Haha. Grr. Not hero in disguise. Hee I'm Cheetah, rar. All of you are freaks. Yeah, whatever. Our enemy is Green Lantern, and we've got him. Look at him there. Ouch. Grundy pulled a muscle. What do you want in return, yo? We need stuff. And Atrocitus is like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. It's kind of funny hearing Troy Baker trying to do the Joker voice, even though he can do Joker. Which it actually would have been funny for him to do his real Joker voice at this point, because he played Joker prior to this.
Oh.
In Arkham Origins.
Wait. Oh yeah, Troy Baker is playing the person pretending to be Joker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Batman is.
I got my Texas accent. Hee hee. It was a joke. Ha ha ha. It was funny. You wasted my time. That was funny. Yes.
He's more angry than normal, even though he's always angry.
Wait, we don't actually get to fight Atrocitus, though?
Circle, I think, says Joe.
Yeah, we got it. We passed.
And X is square, says Devin. Making some stir-fried mushrooms, pop star. That sounds good.
No.
Yep, thank you very much, Miss Tiana, for the super chat.
Yep, Miss Tiana started off the super chat goal, which helps out a lot. Bells. Bleeze. Red Lantern Warrior. So the reason why a lot of campers had black and white TVs, though, is because it was too expensive to have a television for a camper in color. Because color TVs were like the norm, so they're like, hey, now you can have a small TV in your car, but it's black and white. It's like, what? Meanwhile, back at the watchtower in space, with flying ducks in space, I don't know. That's a very long zoom in on the watchtower without any character dialogue at all. It's just a slow pan right to the watchtower.
I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be like a... I mean, I don't know. There's probably cool music.
Well, yeah, they're playing music, but still, I mean, that's a very long kind of like, hey, just so you know, this spinning thing here, it's the watchtower. We're not going to do anything else. We have money to burn, so we're going to show you stuff floating in space.
I'm sure if the air conditioner wasn't blasting you too, it would be very artistic with it.
Well, I don't want to hear it with the music because it's straight up copyright, yo. Yeah. Gosh, you're an upbeat lady. I did a reference and you missed it.
Oh, I know what your reference was.
Yay! That makes me happy. Orange, you glad that we're going to... I mean, the Blue Hope planet is kind of boring, so we'll go there.
Oh, yeah. At first I thought this was really cool, but then later, as we kept going to tiny planets, I was like, oh, this isn't as cool as I thought it was. It's an interesting idea in concept, but I think instead of having like a million planets to go to, they should have like added one more really cool level to do instead, because I feel like this game had a lot of extra content to it.
Yeah, I mean, it did, but I didn't like the planets where you had to walk around on the big circle thing. That was very disorienting. Yeah, it was. So, Miss Deanna, did you end up making that fish you were going to make? Or you were just thinking about making fish? A Blue Hope.
Hi, Savon. Hi, Miss Deanna. Hi, John. Thank you again, Miss Deanna, for the super chat.
Yeah, that's true. We do get to fight the orange guy. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the lantern core that meant hope. Oh, that would be a good poll. Oh, we already have a super chat goal. But like, what's your favorite lantern color, or what lantern is most like you? So there's blue.
You can only have
purple.
4.
Well, just do the main ones because nobody wants to be a pink lantern.
That's the love lantern. Passion.
Well, that's the crazy love lantern.
That's the
It's the one where you're
ex-girlfriend ones.
psycho.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone wants.
Isn't
to
it
be
funny
that.
how most of the star sapphires are all ex-girlfriends?
What?
Yeah.
Lanterns. And I mean, I don't think that anyone wants to be yellow since that's evil. Well, we can just see what the... So, the main lantern core colors are... Let's see... green for will, blue for hope, indigo for compassion.
I don't think anybody wants to be a yellow lantern, though.
You
That's
could do
fear.
white for life.
Eh.
Okay, fine. Why don't you do rage? Why don't we forget indigo? So do blue, green, red, as in rage lantern.
Ooh, orange.
And orange.
Yeah.
Orange lantern.
Orange,
green,
yeah. So green.
greed.
Green. Yeah. Yeah. What?
So you could do pink. We could do pink instead of.
Orange.
Do pink instead of.
What is blue? Blue is calm, isn't
hope.
it? Blue is.
Blue is hope.
Yeah, we're gonna do green,
that's a good
red,
one.
blue, and orange.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's black, white, red, orange, yellow, pink or violet, compassion, hope, and green. Instilling fear in people could be useful, says Joe Turtle.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have added the yellow.
I like
We'll
that.
go with the rage. We're
Yeah,
going
we'll
with
go
the
with
red because of Atrocitus.
I'd probably be a red lantern. All right, here we go.
Alright, guys, I'm sorry. We only picked 4 of, like, the...
I mean, we can only do 4.
There's, like, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 lantern colors, so we had to pick 4.
What are the gold lanterns?
I forgot. Yeah.
There's gold lanterns now?
I did hear that. I mean, we looked it up quite a while ago. Like, let me look it up again.
I know that...
I think it's a new color.
Oh, so they made more lanterns. There's too many lanterns now. I remember in DC Comics when Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver made multiple lantern cores. Because before, when I was a kid, it was green, yellow, pink. And then all of a sudden, in the early 2000s, it became red, indigo, blue, orange, black, white. Then, of course, green, yellow, and pink added to the mix. But, I mean, they had this whole, like, multiple color thing.
Yeah, gold is from the future.
It's a future color. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lantern from the future.
All right. So anyway, we're traveling to the blue planet, which, what I remember, odium is really lame. Yeah. And Martian Manhunter's like, why are we going to this planet? This planet's stupid. And he's like, well, you know, I'm weak without Green Lantern stuff, so I'm just kind of this alien that can't really do much. But when a Green Lantern comes by, I'm kind of like the Aquaman of the lanterns. Like, I'm useful, but only in certain instances.
Wow.
When another hero is around. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Aquaman doesn't really...
Well,
Martian
they've made Aquaman cooler,
have
but you have to
engaged the
remember
Reach.
Aquaman's whole spiel in the past was fish. I talked to fish. So they were like, you know what? Aquaman is this dude who's under the water, so he's got to have certain abilities,
Taking
right?
out the Reach mothership.
He's
is our
gotta
greatest
he's gotta
chance to
be
succeed.
like,
Thank you.
if he swims
Please,
fast,
be
that means he's
careful
super
and
strong. So they made Aquaman
all
like
will
super
be well.
strong. Same equivalent of strength to Wonder Woman, basically. Because they're like, well, Amazonians have, like, crazy strength, and Atlantis is from Greek mythology, so it would make sense that Aquaman would be super strong. Okay, check. Also, this is actually how fast he swims. He doesn't swim as fast as a small boat. He swims as fast as a submarine. You know, he can go, like, wicked fast under the water. Like, faster than a torpedo. And he doesn't just talk to fish, he can talk to all aquatic life, and he has telepathy, and he can talk to ghosts and all kinds of stuff. So they kept making Aquaman cooler, and then they were like, you know what, that's not working for 90s kids. You know, let's have him cut off his arm. Give him a hook for a hand, and now he's got this spear trident thing that, you know, it's like Batman's grappling hook, but it's attached to his arm. And he doesn't wear a shirt anymore. And he has a really cool, like, Robinson Crusoe beard and mustache with really long Fabio hair. Yeah, that's Aquaman now.
I mean, in a way, that Aquaman is sort of what the Jason Momoa Aquaman was based on.
Yeah, it was based on the... Yeah, Jason Momoa Aquaman was based on that Aquaman.
Was that the Brave... No, that wasn't Brave and the Bold.
No, Brave and the Bold is 60s Aquaman.
What was the Aquaman where he cut off his own arm? What was the...
That was Justice League, the animated
wow.
series, but that was based on 90s Aquaman.
Oh my god.
I know, that was hardcore. Like, his son was about to be eaten, and he had to make the decision: is he going to lose his son, or is he going to lose his arm? So he lost his hand to save his son. That was a very noble thing. And how they showed, like, how his hand was, like, wrapped in a baby swaddling cloth, and it was all red. It was like, they made it, they worked with the censors. So it was still, like, a really cool scene, but it was like, whoa, that's intense. And he's like, where's Orm? And then, you know, he had his whole hooked hand attached. But his trident actually shoots lightning and commands the weather of the ocean. So, you know, Aquaman is kind of cool,
our
but
strategy is working.
what I'm saying about the Blue Lantern, so the joke with the Blue Lantern is their rings don't do much unless a Green Lantern is nearby. So if their home planet is ever attacked or something happens to them and there's no Green Lantern, they're cooked.
It's like that thing where Daredevil says the will to act is everything. Because really, without the will, the Green Lantern is the will to act.
Yeah, if there's
the will.
if their space kung fu doesn't work, don't rely on their power rings to do much.
Thank you, Miss Deanna.
Does he understand what the Inklings and Octolings are saying? Probably.
Yeah,
They're fish. You can straight up talk to the Splatoon characters, no problem.
yeah, I mean, like, if he can understand humans, he can understand fish creatures. So if it's sort of a combination between a human or fish creature that appears a humanoid fish creature, then yes, I bet he could understand.
I would actually say Aquaman is stronger than Wonder Woman, though, because there's a feat of strength in the 2000s. Atlantis is in danger. Aquaman swims underneath Atlantis, and he picks the whole thing up, and he brings it to the surface by, like, lifting it. And remember how heavy things are under the water and how big Atlantis is. So they gave him this insane feat of strength that he didn't die from. He picks up Atlantis, and he brings it to the surface temporarily because there was like a sea quake coming or something that was going to destroy Atlantis. So he does that. And then I remember people on forum sites talking about it, and they're like, well, I guess, you know, they're going to make Aquaman a lot stronger than he was ever before. Because there was an Aquaman cartoon show in the 60s, and all Aquaman did was talk to fish, and if he was out of water, well, he was kind of screwed. Couldn't really do anything.
Wow.
He was as strong as, like, a normal guy. Like, he was basically about as strong as Batman out of the water. But of course they changed that, which is good because, I mean, it makes more sense. If he's able to breathe under the water, swim at supersonic speeds, he would have, like, insane, you know, superhuman strength. So it makes sense.
probably slightly based on Atlas was the ruler.
Reporting Manhunter to St. Walker. We have neutralized the
Poseidon
mothership.
had 10 sons, and his oldest son is supposed to
Help
rule
immediately.
Atlantis.
Did that sound scary to anyone else?
St. Walker,
Atlas.
the signal is
Do you remember
gone.
that whole
must
Aquaman
find and
movie we were
assist him
supposed
now.
to get? That was supposed to be about the Trench, which was a spooky DC. It was either a New 52 or it was like a DC Rebirth thing that was supposed to talk about the Seven Kingdoms of Atlantis or something like that. They never got around to doing it, but it was going to be like the second Aquaman movie.
You know, even in the Little Mermaid, that he ruled the seven seas. I remember that. I don't know why.
Right, well,
They always
there's...
used to do that with the mer people.
Well, with DC Comics now, or at least before, they added, during the Jeff Johns Aquaman run, it wasn't just the city of Atlantis, there were 7 underwater cities, and only a couple of them were loyal to it. So they did this whole, like, underwater civil war thing.
Oh yeah, weren't they talking about that in the...
Yeah, they were gonna make a movie about doing that. They never got around to doing it. And we blew up the Brainiac ship. I think it's a Brainiac ship, I don't know. And now it's time for the boring planet.
Well, at least the Inklings and Octolings evolved to survive on dry land. Says Miss Deanna.
Yep. You see how the Blue Lanterns aren't really able to defeat all these robots and stuff? It's because without Hal, their powers are super weak. So let me put it to you another way. Let's use gaming terms, like RPGs. So Blue Lanterns would be considered a level 1 or 5, and a Green Lantern would be like a level 50.
I would think of Blue Lanterns as healers, though.
Yeah, Blue Lanterns do have healing because they're calm and they help out and stuff.
It's not a nice
But
planet.
I'm just saying, in terms of video game logic, they would be like forever stuck at like a level 1 or 2, and then all their stats are like that, but they have a stats boost, an insane stats boost that happens when a Green Lantern is around and working with them. So they would be, like you said, they'd be like a support character, like a support role in like a dungeon crawler or RPG or something like that. Probably.
At least the Inklings and Aqualings evolved to survive on their land. Meanwhile, Aquaman, after he got wiped out by that flood, Aquaman is useless on dry land.
He's not so useless anymore, but yeah, he used to be.
I remember Aquaman was about to take over the whole world at one point, though.
That was Flashpoint. He didn't.
I always thought that Aquaman chose to live in the water. He preferred.
So the reason why Aquaman got hurt really bad, in the Justice League cartoon show is he was out of water for a while, and he got hit by an RPG by Deadshot. And they were even explaining, like, he said, I would be fine if I was near the ocean when got hit by a rocket launcher. But...
Yeah, Zach, he is like Barrett in a way, because Barrett has a gun for a hand.
Yeah, he has a trident for an arm.
Yeah.
Or not a trident.
So if he's near water, then he's stronger, is what you're saying, Luke?
Well, yeah, I mean, if he got hit with an RPG in Justice League the Animated Series on land, and obviously it hurt him, he got hit with a missile, and he caught it in the water, and it didn't do anything to him. So, I mean, you know, he gets an insane stat boost when he's in the water. Even if he just has a toe in the water, he's, like, OP. It is what it is. DC Comics. Again, the difference between Marvel and DC Comics is...
Wow, that's interesting.
Gods and monsters. So
he's connected to the water at all.
Yeah, DC characters are godlike in terms of their abilities, and Marvel superheroes have feats of strength that are within, like, kind of like Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, they want their heroes to struggle to be relatable, and they don't just want to MacGuffin them. DC is like, we're basically making Greek mythology, so we'll have to find unique ways of nerfing our characters temporarily, but they're always going to be insanely stupid strong. Because that's just how DC does things. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't make DC characters very relatable, which is why Marvel always wins the, oh, Spider-Man is more related than Superman, or, you know, Thor is a much more interesting character than Superman. It's because the characters are more down to earth, and they've been heavily nerfed compared to DC characters.
How come DC doesn't bring up Aquaman's son anymore and just gave him a daughter, but never brings up his firstborn son? Be interesting if they brought his son back.
If I had arms
also,
that
says
big,
Jonathan
just think of how much
Perez.
stuff I could carry. Oh man,
I
don't even want to think about what that tentacle's
Probably
attached
has to do with the state of, like,
Forgive me, my
you know,
large friend. but
modern
we must
times.
pass.
It's not cool to have a superhero to have a son. They have to have a daughter.
Oh dear. Perhaps I should have offered it some Chunko's cookies
So,
instead.
and Aquaman had a son a couple times, but his son's been killed in the comics a couple times. One of the darkest things I remember is Black Manta actually killed Aquaman's son by putting him inside of a tube. He was like a little baby. It was a dark storyline where Mira went crazy afterwards too, because he was put in a polluted water, I think, inside of a tube, and the baby died.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a 1970s story, I think. Yep, and then Aquaman had another baby. He's also had sidekicks and things like that.
So, yeah, I always forget Black Manta, like, Aquaman killed his dad?
By accident, but Black Manta blames his dad. Although how they did it with Jason Momoa is Jason Momoa did technically kill Black Manta's dad because this whole submarine collapsed and the guy was trapped on the submarine. But how Black Manta's dad died in the comics, like especially pre-Crisis, it was an accident. Like, Aquaman was a righteous guy that didn't try to kill anybody, but there was an incident that happened with a fight between the original Black Manta and, yeah.
Oh, right, his dad was the original Black Manta.
There's been a couple Black Mantas, yeah. And that's why Black Manta killed his son, is because he was getting revenge for his dad. And then we had the dark Aquaman comics for a while. That didn't really work very well. That was when DC was trying to be super edgy. Actually, when isn't DC trying to be super edgy? They're not trying to be super edgy right now, and that's probably why their book sales aren't doing well. Anything after that isn't the absolute line is doing terrible. To the point where people are, like, making all these articles. Is this the end of physical comic books? Is everybody going to become, like, webtoons going forward? Which is online comics? To save on print? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, Misty unlocked the music.
Oh, yay!
I think. Did Misty unlock the music? I got the music in. Yup.
Alright, it's music time. Thank you, Miss Deanna. You're breathtaking.
Aw, I can't do any more recaps.
Thank you so much. Thank goodness. We don't have to listen to loops.
My recaps are amazing.
To put it in plain terms, DC characters are godlike, or fights take place in space. Meanwhile, Marvel characters fight right outside your house. Says Miss Deanna.
Yeah, and they cause property damage, and then J. Jonah Jameson is like, "Do you believe these superheroes fighting on Main Street? How many houses and properties were lost? Do they even care? No, of course they don't. They're just furthering their own ego. They should really leave this to the police and your National Guard, because at least they would try not to destroy your public property. But these so-called heroes do anything but." Yeah. We don't really have a J. Jonah Jameson in DC Comics. The closest we have is Jack Ryder. And Jack Ryder is, I'm going to say a name that nobody's going to understand, but Jack Ryder is supposed to be Donahue. If anybody remembers the journalist Donahue from the 80s and 90s, that's who Jack Ryder is based after. He's like a TV talk show, interview guy, like investigative journalist. That's who he is.
Do you see to be more hopeful? So Omega
No.
8851, and I grew up with your videos. So.
No, I don't want... They're trying to do... Right now, DC's having an identity crisis. They're trying to appease to Marvel fans by making their characters more relatable. And it's not really working because the stories are suffering. It's very out of character to change DC characters because Marvel and DC are different.
We did it.
They're supposed to be different.
Do you think it's really
The
good?
problem
I don't
is,
think
for
we
the
should wait
past
to
20
find out.
years,
Unless it
instead of
comes back to
DC
business
trying to
for
do
us.
its own thing, is they've been trying to, both in movies and comic books, they've been trying to be basically like a more of a Marvel company than DC. And DC's not supposed to do that. So DC's basically lost their identity, and they have more than half of DC's editorial staff is all former Marvel Comics people. Whereas in the past, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, you had maybe one or two Marvel former employees that basically worked at both DC and Marvel. Now you have, like, Bendis' team consists of, like, 6 or 7 editors that were former Marvel Comics people, and they were all part of the all-new different run of Marvel, which was a travesty. And, you know, Bendis hasn't really done all that amazing things. All the Marvel writers came in and they changed DC's characters, like, who they dated, and changed, like, some of them started to develop psychological problems they never had. They were trying to make the characters more relatable when that's not what DC characters are supposed to do. It's all about the storytelling and the mysteries and the, you know, intergalactic space thingies. It's not supposed to be, like, kind of your down-to-earth characters. And you can tell that it doesn't work. And DC fans, they just, I don't know, they basically became anime fans, a lot of them, because if you want to experience, like, really high-profile fantasy stories, your best bet is anime or Korean webtoons, because DC Comics doesn't really fit that quota anymore. They don't really do that stuff. They're trying too hard to be like a, you know, a Marvel copy, and it doesn't work for them.
Oh, interesting. John Doe says the death of Black Manta's father is actually a new 52 thing.
Okay.
In the pre-52, Black Manta was actually held captive as a boy. He saw Aquaman, he tried to call out to him, but Aquaman could not hear him.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay, so I've got some New 52 things messed up. Well, in my defense, the New 52 was a relaunch of DC Comics, which Dan Didio and Jim Lee and Jeff Johns were trying to make the DC characters fresh. Not necessarily relatable, but they were trying to make the stories fresh and new for new readers to be like, hey, if you've missed 70 years of DC's history, don't worry, we're starting all over again with this massive reboot after Flashpoint. Everything is now #1 for the first time in 50 years. So, all new stories. We're going to keep some of the great continuity, but for the most part, we're getting rid of everything. That way, everybody can... They were trying to do what manga does, where they were trying to start where it would be easy for people to follow along with the comics, but the problem is they made too many mistakes with the New 52 that it ended up just collapsing, and they had to quickly backpedal and be like, all right, we'll bring back all the past storylines and Wally West and the Titans and all the things we messed up. We're sorry, okay? Sorry for trying to be creative. Blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. That's what DC Rebirth was.
Oh, man! Now what?
No, it's okay.
Doesn't Jack Ryder become the Creeper so Charles?
Yes. Yes.
Does it come to that?
No.
Oh,
The Creeper is a guy who was... The Jack Ryder guy was an investigative journalist who had a run-in with the Joker. The Joker threw him in a vat of chemicals, and rather than becoming a superhero, or a supervillain, because, you know, he was crazy, he still ended up crazy, but he became a superhero.
oh wow, crazy hero. Wow.
Yep, he became a crazy, gimmicky hero that wore a carnival costume, and his skin was all yellow, or he wore a yellow suit with a white face. I don't remember. You'd have to look up the Creeper. Sometimes the Creeper has superpowers, sometimes he doesn't.
So the point is Marvel characters are more reachable compared to DC characters who are untouchable due to their godlike status, says Miss Deanna.
Bingo! Yep, and that's what Stan Lee always said. He was like, Stan Lee, he was like, I made my Marvel heroes like everyday people. They have struggles, they've got bills. Most of DC's heroes are all rich, or they're from outer space. Do those guys pay taxes? Probably not. So he's like, I was given the opportunity to work at DC, and I decided, it's not for me. I wanted to make my own heroes with their own worries and things so that normal everyday people could relax and be like, hey, I kind of see myself in this joke. You know, whereas DC characters, they're not very fun to write. He says, now Batman's a fun character to write, and he would work better with Marvel than DC. That's what Stan always said. Stan believed that Batman would have been a better fit at Marvel compared to DC Comics. So he was a big Batman fan.
Yeah, but Batman and Superman balance each other out.
Well, of course.
Like, Superman kind of needs a friend like Batman because...
Oh, if you want really
fear
good
that at
buddy
this size,
comics,
my chances
read
of
the
fighting this
World's
tentacle
Finest
rod.
from the late 70s
Not
to the
good.
early 90s.
worry,
They're
Manhunter.
really great Batman
I'll help.
Superman stories where you
Long as
really
I
get
can
to
keep
see the
my
friendship
distance.
of Batman and Superman, even as it evolves like into the dark era of the 70s and 80s. Like Superman is still like this kind of like Richard Donner, like Christopher Reeves, like beacon of light, and Batman is like this grumpy guy. And that basis for that stuff was actually utilized really well in the Superman the Animated Series between Kevin Conroy and Tim Daly. Like they based the Brave and the Bold or World's Finest comic books for the Superman the Animated Series.
Oh, it's based on World's Finest.
Yeah, well, I mean, Batman the Animated Series was based on 70s, 80s, and 90s comics. The Superman animated series was also based on 70s and 80s comics with a little bit of Silver Age thrown in. But especially the team-ups of Batman and Superman were based on like, the 80s. I have some World's Finest books around here. But there was some World's Finest stuff done recently that wasn't too bad. It was okay.
Yeah, Nightwing is kind of a mix between Batman and Superman also. Well, he looks up to Superman.
No,
Well, also...
Superman is a very optimistic character, so Nightwing is a very optimistic, happy guy, so that's the Superman traits. He also has strong leadership roles, which is also Superman. For Batman, he knows how to deal with crime, but he also has like there's a different point of view of how to do stuff compared to other heroes. Please tell me you're gonna do that too. Oh, it's these stupid Lego things again.
Even Iron Man pays taxes, says Mr.
Well, Batman pays taxes too. It's just Stanley was making a joke.
Also, my older sister told me that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee had thought the same thing when it comes to their comic characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And Jack Kirby actually, or not Jack Kirby. Yeah, I think it was.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah, Jack Kirby did some Spider-Man, but there was some. What people don't understand is, especially when you look at the X-Men art from the 70s and 80s, DC and Marvel writers and artists were going back and forth between the two companies because they were the only comic book companies at the time. So there's a time frame where both Marvel and DC Comics look like really cool, and the storytelling is almost identical because it's by the same people. Like one month, DC guy might go and write Punisher, and then the next he's going to come and write New Gods, and then the guy who did.
Could write for both.
Yeah, they used to be able to do. Yeah, they used to be able to write for both. Now it's like, well, once you're done with DC, you can come over to Marvel or Image Comics, but we don't like people to go back and forth.
Martian Manhunter needs to go to the portal, says Game Man.
Oh, right, the portal. Yeah. That makes sense.
I mostly get the old DC books from pre-52 and new 52. I don't really follow the current ones, says John Doe.
Yeah, the current stuff is weird.
Yeah, I think I would like the World's Finest. I really like their friendship between Superman and Batman.
One of my favorite movies that was ever done by DC is Batman, Superman, Public Enemies. And that is a great animated movie that shows the friendship of Batman and Superman. where basically Lex Luthor is the president of America, and they're public enemy number one. Like, all these heroes come after them and stuff like that because they get framed for something they didn't do, which was to assassinate the president.
Oh, wow.
And the president was Lex. So the DC heroes weren't really thrilled with Batman and Superman because they know the history with Lex, but they're like, well, he's the president of the United States, so you can't do this kind of stuff. And Superman's like, I didn't do anything, and just because of my personal feelings, I'm not going to go and do something that, you know me. But they're like, well, the evidence shows otherwise. So, you know, Batman and Superman end up being hunted.
We have to save him.
He's being held by
It's a
those
great
magnets.
movie, though,
I
with
think
a
I
good
can free
ending,
him.
and also it
Don't lose it
shows
for us.
the friendship between Batman and Superman when they're literally with their backs up against the wall, and how they still have humor and they still have like an understanding and a respect for each other. We needed more DC movies like that, showing Batman and Superman with that friendship, and we never really got it.
I kind of feel like Superman and Batman are both kind of weird and both lonely in their own way. So they kind of need each other.
Loners, and they both make super families for themselves. Superman has his super family and sidekicks. Batman has his Bat family and sidekicks. They were loners in the beginning, but they both surrounded themselves with like-minded people that share their... Whoa!
Oh my god.
Whoa, 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 whoa! You became an Omega? Hold up! Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up.
Oh my gosh. Wow, thank you so much. You
Zachary,
wanna
Zachary,
make a
hold up.
series?
We have a tier. Wow. You've been gone a while, so we're gonna explain. Our $500 tier, you get an uploaded series of 6 episodes. Like, you paid for 6 uploads. What series would you like to see on the channel? Because we're currently doing South of Midnight for another $500 tier member. You paid the tab, so what would you like to see on the channel? It could be pretty much anything. As a 30-minute upload. It might take us a while to, you know... but you paid for basically like 6 episodes over the course of like a couple weeks. Don't leave us until you tell us, because we're transactional based channel.
Thank you, Zachary San Vicente. You're breathtaking.
Yes, you get something. The only thing that would be hard is 3DS because it doesn't work very well. But like PS3 game, Switch 2, whatever video, or if you're nostalgic for a certain series.
Or he can almost think about it.
Or you can think about it and tell us in a couple days.
You can think about it.
Yeah.
Since you probably weren't thinking of something. And we'll do an uploaded series for you for like at least 6 episodes.
Yeah, because Naomi paid for all of South of Midnight, which is going to be like 16 episodes, and then she has another series because she did 3 months of that tier. We don't even know what her next series is going to be after South of Midnight.
Okay, let me read Zachary's thing.
Sure.
AK Wings, you guys said a while back that you would pray for me.
Of course.
While I was going through some financial difficulties, God has delivered me from it, and I know God's glory to stop.
Praise God, that's awesome. We definitely prayed for you, and we pray for all our subscribers that asked for it. You know, and it's important to, you know, not to get too religious for non-believers, but it's important for husband and wife to get together and pray, you know, for their kids and their friends, and in this case, our viewers, because there's a lot of you guys, and you know, life doesn't always get easy, so prayer doesn't hurt. So, but that's an awesome answer to prayer, that things have gotten better financially for you. That's really cool. Huh.
I'm trying to think, so Zachary. You can always think about it and say it.
Yeah, you could always comment back on this video. Yeah. I did the top donator. You can do it again though.
Thank you, Zachary. God bless you, and thank you so much. So glad to hear that. God bless you with that. That's awesome.
You went a single year without a single paycheck. That's insane. So then, was the company's taking your money directly from your job or something, like siphoning income to pay back whatever was going on? You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but we're going. Yeah. But you see how I was talking about how these guys are nerfed? See, he's got a power ring, and he can't even get out of that trap from that alien monster. Because basically that alien monster probably is much stronger than him, like in terms of level scaling, right? So that poor Blue Lantern guy is he's gonna be lunch for this centipede thing that even looks like it has a chef hat on. Like I think it gave it a chef hat, like a nice little touch there.
I think it is a chef.
Yeah. So I mean, he's in trouble. That guy.
Right. That guy's gonna be.
It's like those animes where the character is like under level and somebody is much stronger in their party helps them out. That kind of thing.
Sean had a question.
Go for it.
Have you seen X-Men 97 season 2? Because I just watched the first 3 episodes, and I'm just wondering that is all.
We don't currently have Disney Plus, so no. We saw X-Men 97 season 1. I liked it.
I didn't see it. The first one. I was working for a startup. They had no money to pay us. Could have left the company, but I was a fledgling engineer with no experience. Basically,
Oh wow.
other place would take me at the time. Oh wow.
That's not fun.
Work experience is good. Like, I mean, even when I was taking cooking classes, they told me a lot of like chefs like work for free for a long time before they get paid. You get the experience. We do that all the time, actually. We were basically like an apprentice in a way, getting the experience. That's dedication, Zachary. That's really great. Very proud of you. It's amazing.
Do we cover a lot of indie games on Steam? No, but if that's what you would like for an upload, we could. We have a Steam Deck.
You can do an indie game.
We're on our Steam Deck right now.
You could actually go into the Steam Deck and look at all the screens.
Well, I can't buy it on the stream though. I'd have to buy it off. Yeah.
As long as we can figure out how to play it.
No.
There's been a couple games where like we had to use like a mouse.
Yeah, it has to. If it's on Steam Deck, it has to be able to use controllers because we tried to play a game that we were really looking forward to a while ago that we never got to cover. Not Vroom Vroom. Where is that game? This was supposed to be the Sims killer in Zoai or whatever. We were really looking forward to this. It looked amazing. We were going to make a whole series on this in the end of 2024. It doesn't have controller support. So, yeah.
Alright, Zachary, that sounds good. Deadline delivery with a monkey.
Okay.
Would love monkey.
No, I don't.
Zachary.
No, no.
Especially I.
No, no.
So,
Thank you for your
yeah,
help,
we
my
can
friends.
definitely do that.
I hope
game.
you come in
We can
time.
do, like, an
Saint Walker,
uploaded series
we
of that.
disabled the
It would be
Reach
fun.
mothership, but they're still attacking.
I mean,
A scarab beetle
I
is
have
heading for
a
the Blue
ultimate
Lantern
tonight.
power battery.
I have
We
to.
stop it.
I think I have an ultimate tonight. I think I have a the Harvest Moon guy, or I have to check my schedule. I think tonight is either Suikoden or Harvest Moon. I don't know. Or yeah. I have to check my schedule. It might be Suikoden because Suikoden hasn't been done in so long. And then I have to, there's an Ultimate Selects this weekend for, somebody became an Ultimate on, oh wow, you became a veteran as well, thank you. My mouse is gone.
Wow, thank you, Zachary. Oh my god. Thank you, Zachary. You're breathtaking. Thank you so much for the help.
What were we doing? Oh, okay, now it's Big Mad. That monster's Big Mad because we took away his dinner. Whoops. The bird. The big bird took away the other thing. See, he's super calm, like that Blue Lantern guy.
We require your assistance to revert the damage Brainiac caused. I hope I can help.
Oh, sorry about the move stress. We're getting there. The house is coming together. But yeah, we could always, Amber and I can always use prayer for stress and, you know, finances and my health. We always do better when people pray for us. Whoops, 92%.
So we'll do that. We'll do the deadline delivery thing. That's amazing, Zachary. That looks like a really fun game. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, by the grace of God, we got our stuff back. Zachary.
Most of it. Most of it.
Some of our stuff was stolen, but we were so thankful that they gave most of our stuff back to us. Oh wow! Thank you for the super chat, Max. It's Sam Regal and Saint Walker. I would say who has done, but I would say who he has done, but I'm sure you remember Turtle, Spider, Bear, and Attorney before. Saint Walker. You mean Ace
Donatello. The voice actor of Donatello. Donatello from the 2003 series?
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
I'm so glad we brought him along.
Oh, strawberry sundaes? Oh, your dad likes strawberry sundaes, Miss Deanna? That's awesome. I like strawberries on his ice cream too.
I do.
I like the strawberry sauce with the strawberry on it. You can't stay due to work and really get tested in comments. Bye! Also, nice $500 super chat. And again, thank you, man.
We have a new Omega for this month. That means 2 uploaded series, South of Midnight and Zachary's series, which is kind of cool. Yep.
Thank you so much, Zachary, and thank you, Max, for the super chat and this game for the super chat.
So, so if those of you are wondering, basically an Omega pays for the uploaded series because with us being shadow banned, an uploaded video is probably... That's rude. Sorry. I know. When people yawn when I talk, I get I know. It's okay. So anyway, with the Omega thing, since we're shadow banned and stuff like that, we don't get views for our uploads. So if somebody pays the fee for production of a series, the time, the energy, the upload, the views, the lack of views, all that stuff helps out tremendously. So, you know, basically we do transactional things. So you basically pay for the series itself, the production, the time, all that other stuff. And yeah, it works out great. That's what we've been doing with South of Midnight, and there's been some other people that also are thinking about doing the Omega tier, which not only helps the channel financially, but also it helps with us like doing less work than live streams, because we do 10 hours of streams a day. So it's a lot. But thank you again for your generosity. The next stream, guys, is probably going to be on the Switch, I think. So, it could be anything. It could be Monster Hunter, it could be Suikoden, it could be Harvest Moon. I have to check my schedule to see what Ultimate is for tonight. But it's going to be one of those games. Okay? But anyway, you guys have a fantastic night. Thank you so much. Your next stream is going to be starting up in just a few minutes. And, yeah. Alright, guys. See you in a bit. And thank you again. God bless. Happy gaming. More LEGO Batman tomorrow.